We've got more on those stories in just a bit, but first, we are tracking a big police scene in Phoenix this morning after officers opened fire on a man who they say was armed and pointing a gun at vehicles.
That's right. Hours later, there's still massive closure in the area of 23rd and Indian School, just a few feet down off of the I-10. So we have team coverage for you of this right now. Traffic, the alternate routes in just a moment. But first, we want to see how all of this played out, and checking in on the scene with Gibby. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, guys. Extremely critical condition is how the Phoenix Police Department explained the suspect out here in this officer-involved shooting, where they say they had to shoot the suspect more than once. Now, officers arrived here on the scene where they were told a man was jumping in front of cars along Indian School just east of I-17. When they approached the suspect, they noticed he was armed with a gun. They say he refused to obey commands to put the gun down, and after pointing a weapon at officers, they opened fire, hitting the suspect, who still refused to obey commands.
Lethal munitions were used in an effort to have him comply by dropping that handgun. He refused, and he once again raised that handgun and pointed at officers, and he was shot at again by officers.
Yeah, that man was then taken to the hospital. As I mentioned, he's in extremely critical condition. Many witnesses saw the man pointing the gun at cars driving by. Now, according to the police department, no one else was hurt, including those who were passing by or any officers. But Kim, I will tell you, now that the morning is coming along and people are starting to get ready to go to work, Indian School, which is closed from 23rd Avenue to the I-17, is completely shut off. But you can see folks trying to drive around this. I think it is best to kind of avoid this whole area at all costs, because it is starting to back up in the smaller local streets out here, which is probably going to be bad for everyone, at least trying to get to work this morning.
Overnight, the search continues this morning for the shooter involved in a deadly road rage incident.
Our Vincent Crivelli has been talking with the investigators, and he's live from North Houston, where the shooting happened. Vince?
Oh, and the crime scene tape is down now, but the investigation continues. Authorities say the road rage escalated into gunfire, then death. Authorities say there was a gunfight on the 610 freeway around 10 o'clock last night. Detectives say the drivers actually stopped on the freeway to shoot at each other. They believe the road rage incident started on I-45, then continued onto the 610 freeway and the feeder road. One of the drivers was struck by gunfire. First responders took him to a hospital where he passed away. Investigators found a gun in the dead man's car.
It was off and on the freeway. It began most likely off at 45, coming on to 610 and westbound, and it was on the freeway and then on the feeder and then back on the freeway. Over an extended period.
And detectives believe the other driver was in a maroon sedan, but have not released a detailed suspect description. Reporting live in North Houston, Vincent Crivelli, KPRC, Channel 2 News.
Okay, Vincent, 503.
To our newsroom, a teenager is shot and killed during an attempted carjacking. Thanks for joining us. I'm Monica Adams. We'll check in on your weather in just a few minutes. We want to go straight out to our Savannah Louie with the latest on this investigation. Savannah, what do we know?
Well, good morning, Monica. A 14-year-old boy is dead, and police are still looking for a second person involved in an attempted carjacking here at this gas station on Jennings Station Road. Step aside so you can see this is the scene on Jennings Station Road. This happened yesterday afternoon. We're told the teenager had a gun. He and another person attempted to carjack a man before running away from the scene. The owner of the vehicle also had a gun. He shot the teenager, who was then taken to the hospital where he was pronounced dead. The owner of the vehicle was taken into custody and is cooperating with this investigation.
A 14-year-old St. Louis boy was shot and killed this weekend. This was during a violent crime. Police say the teenager was trying to carjack someone when his intended victim opened fire. This happened in Jennings. 5 on your sides. Alex Feeds is live at the police station. Alex?
And good evening. When police arrived on the scene, they found that Demario Thomas and another unidentified suspect had fled on foot. When police captured Thomas, they discovered he had a bullet wound to the chest. Now, this happened here in the parking lot of a gas station at Jennings Station Road and Lewis and Clark Boulevard. Police say the attempted carjacking victim is a 53-year-old man. During the robbery, the man shot Thomas. Police say a weapon was recovered from both the carjacking victim and from Thomas. Marlon Wharton is founder of an organization called Gentlemen of Vision that is designed to intervene in the lives of young men.
We're trying to stand in the gap. A lot of times, you know, we run into young men where fathers may not be present, where there's not a lot of male presence, and so they're hanging out with their peers a lot, and so that's usually a bad combination. So that's why mentorship is so critical.
St. Louis County Police say the other unidentified suspect is not in custody. The 53-year-old carjacking victim was taken into custody without incident, and police say he is cooperating with the investigation. No word so far tonight on whether that man will face charges. Live tonight in Jennings, Alex Fees, 5 on your side.
Also new this morning, the search is on for the person who shot a man through the sliding glass door of his home. Shortly before the shooting, the man was talking with another man in the parking lot of the Lantana Apartments on Vance Jackson. According to police, when he went up to his apartment, the other man shot at his balcony door. He's now hospitalized with life-threatening injuries. So far, no arrests.
Was one of 6 people shot at on Friday morning. Bibb Sheriff's investigators says they are still trying to piece together what happened that morning. With no suspect, Cephas says knowing her friend was just a bystander is still a hard pill to swallow.
That's what hurts the most, because she didn't deserve it. Just in the wrong place at the wrong time, trying to have fun on Thanksgiving.
Cephas says with growing gun violence in Macon, she wants people to take a step back and think before reacting.
Stop killing each other and just get yourself together. You ain't got to go kill nobody because you mad or you trying to get at somebody. That's not how it's supposed to be. Just need to pray, talk to God, let God guide your life.
That's Kayla Solomon reporting. The mom of the victim, Rayana Moser Powell's mother, on the phone, told us that the woman killed in the shooting in West Macon on Saturday morning. She says she and her family are all from Durham, North Carolina, and that the 24-year-old leaves behind a 3-year-old son. Her death on Saturday makes 9 homicides in Bibb County in the month of November.
Hey, Christina, so a lot of new information just coming in. I'm told the victim in this case, he was 30 years old. He had a family and young children as well. So take a look. Now, police say they are searching for these 2 suspects that you see listed right there on your screen. Now, they also tell me that this brutal and senseless killing had happened right here at this Shell gas station on Williams Boulevard. Now, they are looking for these 2 suspects. They say at around 2 a.m. the suspects, they went into the store. Detectives say the suspect wearing a white knit cap and black face mask went up to the store clerk, pulled out a gun, and demanded the money. Now, the other suspect was standing by the front door of the business. Investigators say the clerk handed over all the money in the register. They say the gunman then walked behind the counter and then shot and killed the clerk. Police say the clerk was helpless and on his knees. And I spoke with one man who says he came into the store hours before the shooting happened. He can't believe this all unfolded.
Enough is enough. It's holiday season, you know. You robbed a man. You ain't had to kill him. You ain't had to take away his life, you know. He got family, you know. Enough is enough. That's all I wanted to say.
And of course, no arrests have been made in this crime. If you've got any information, you're asked to call Crime Stoppers. That number, it is 822-1111, as well as Kenner Police. Back to you.
IMPD is also investigating a double homicide involving 2 people. Shortly after 11 Saturday night, police were called to Browse Avenue, where they found one male victim who'd been shot at Blackburn Terrace Apartments. Once there, they found another also shot. Both were pronounced dead. So far, no arrests have been made in that case either.
Well, breaking overnight, a customer walks in on a robbery and ends up killing the suspect at a Northeast Philadelphia takeout restaurant. Eyewitness News reporter Howard Monroe is live at police headquarters with the very latest. Good morning, Howard.
Good morning to you, Jim. You know, there were 3 employees at the time of this robbery and shooting. Police say they were not physically injured. And at this point, while their investigation is preliminary, police say that the shooter was justified in the shooting of the robber. Now, the robbery and shooting happened at 10:30 last night at the Wing Stop on the 2100 block of Cotman Avenue. The restaurant was open at the time of the robbery. Police say the 53-year-old robber walked into the restaurant and demanded employees give them all the money. That was when another customer walked in. When the robber pointed his gun at him, the customer fired his weapon back, hitting the robber once in the neck. When police arrived on scene, the robber was behind the counter and pronounced dead just after 10:30. The customer is only identified as a man in his late 20s.
The customer that also was a victim because he had the gun pointed at him remained on scene, did cooperate with police. We do have his weapon. We know that just 1 shot was fired from that customer.
Now, police say their investigation as of right now is preliminary, and they are now going through surveillance video from inside the restaurant to make sure these stories add up. Live at police headquarters, Howard Monroe, CBS 3 Eyewitness News.
Thank you, Howard.
Police say a robbery suspect was fatally shot when a customer fought back at a Northeast Philadelphia restaurant last night. The business was open for takeout at the time. Action News reporter Taronda Thomas talked with police to find out more about what happened.
Police say the suspect had his mind made up. When he walked through this door, he would rob the place. What he didn't count on was a customer who would fight back.
Takeout business was still open. It was open till midnight.
But an hour and a half before midnight, a masked man walked in.
When a male walked in, went behind the counter, pointed a gun at them, and announced a robbery and asked for all the money.
There were 3 employees inside the Wing Stop in the 2100 block of Cotman Avenue, but a 4th person was about to walk in. A customer talking on his phone, likely not realizing he was walking into a robbery.
That's when the customer, who's in his late 20s, pulled his gun, fired 1 shot at the perpetrator, striking him in the neck.
The 53-year-old robber collapsed behind the counter and died at the scene. Residents have strong opinions about what happened to the would-be robber.
The guy that was robbing the place deserved what he got, in my opinion.
When you kill somebody, no matter what, because he wants to defend himself, he wants to pick up something.
The customer had a valid permit to carry. So does David Echeverra. He says in this situation, he might have done the same thing.
Safety first. Your life goes first. So you have to try to do any way to save your life and save the life of others.
The customer who fired the fatal shot stayed on the scene and is cooperating with police. As for the suspect, he's had prior run-ins with the
All right, we want to get to the breaking news right now. There has been a shooting in Opelika.
Sinella Subovic arrived on that scene just a short time ago. Sinella, what do you know so far?
Well, there is a heavy police presence here in Opelika. Take a look behind me. There, detectives, investigators are saturating the area here. We're along 2341 Alibaba Avenue. We've learned that 2 people were shot. This address registers back to an auto body shop. I believe we also have some Sky 10 video for you. We also know that one of the victims from this auto body shop was transported via air rescue to a nearby hospital. It's unclear what hospital that person was taken to. Again, we know that 2 people were shot here. We're still working on finding out their conditions, how old they are, but a heavy police presence here in Opelika, also working to figure out what led up to this shooting. But back out live now, we know that westbound Alibaba Avenue is shut down right after Northwest 22nd Avenue. You can see a lot of police officers. These are Opelika police that have responded to the scene. We're also hearing that Miami-Dade police might come here to help out with the investigation. But once we learn any more details, we'll be sure to pass them along to you on local10.com and also on air in our very next newscast. For now, that's the latest here out of Opelika. Sinella Subovic, Local 10 News.